Hey, what's up everybody, here's Matze once again, and in today's video we're going to be rooting Waldo from Hack the Box. And as always, we are just starting off with nmap scan. So let me walk you through the parameters used in here. And I use tag pn. That way I will tell nmap that the host is already up and running, otherwise it will perform a ping scan and send in some other probes just to check that, making us lose some time. Tag is v to append the column here for version, and the c appended to it, which is just a shorthand for another parameter, namely tag sc, but you can squeeze it in. That will perform several default scripts the nmap scripting engine has for some ports. For example, for HTTP based ports like the 80, it performed for scripts in here. So HTTP title, requested resource was HTTP train info, HTTP server header. That way we know what the version is, right? And the same thing for SSH, the host key, signatures for RSA, ECDSA, and so on. And moving on, we have the tag p tag or dash p dash that will scan the whole range of ports that are available for the IP TCP protocol, which are from 1 to 65,535. And tagging will disable DNS resolution. We will be sending no less than 500 packages a minute. That will speed it up considerably. With $t, we'll be invoking a variable t, which I named after my target IP, right? And with n, I'll be saving this output to the file called general on a directory named nmap. So the results we see, we have SSH, OpenSSH 7.5 on port 22, and we have Nginx 1.12.2 on 80. Now, I don't think this has anything to do with the CDF, but this does indeed, but it's filtered, right? So why don't we try, for example, trying to grabbing this banner. So I will use NV for non-DNS resolution and verbose mode, IP and 8888, and it will hang because it's filtered. So, but we should try it anyway, right? So on to the port 80, we have this in here, and I like to check the source code of the page. I'll see some CSS code and Windows on load listed list lists. That's a function in JavaScript. So I actually want to take a look at the requests going on. So I'm going to be using F5 for reloading the page, and I see several get requests on list.js. That's the code that was that had that list or list function, whatever. We have another here for post to a PHP file, their read. I can see here the headers. Let me just get here. Headers, and I can see cookies. There's no cookies. Request. So it's asking for a path, and it's using a dot list slash, which is interesting. It looks like it might be prone to be vulnerable to local file inclusion or remote file inclusion vulnerability. Most likely LFI, right? You can see the response is given a JSON object with dot list 1 list 2. That looks like a oh, the hell, yeah, like a Linux directory, right? So dot list 1 list 2, quite interesting. So at this point I like to be firing up my burp suite so that I can check closely those requests and test some things. I'm gonna be nest tar burp, and I'm gonna be testing all these functionalities such as delete, add list, and I can see I can click in here and well, I see a pun, so I can delete it as well and add one like new item. Okay, that's interesting. I can rename it. I think enter. All right, it does. Back, all this stuff. I want to test all this stuff, right? So let me go to proxy like this and here. Oh, here. And I'm gonna be selecting my Foxy proxy option for burp suite and F5 to reload, and I have the get. I'm not interested in this one. Go forward and look at this. Pause the read. Control R to send it to the repeater. Right, forward, and that's it. So I'm gonna be using add list and file write.php. Now we discovered another file. Forward and post the read. That's okay. I'm gonna be using a delete file, delete another PHP file. I'm hitting Control R in every request just for you to know. And while I enter here, I'm not interested into that. And I'm gonna be changing the name, like change enter. And well, here that's the way it changes it, right? So Control R again, forward. Now I'm gonna be using add, and apparently didn't trigger any request. But I'm gonna be hitting delete, write, and list num2 data 1 point change. Yeah, I don't know. Forward. I'll read. I got it already. So we have several things to try here. So we have the read. I'll be naming it after it. The read file write. If we have file delete and I'll write again, just that this one changes the name, and file write again, so I don't need one. I don't need this one. But cool. So I have the read. I wanna see what I get in here. So I have, as mentioned, the Linux alike directory, like file system or whatever. So what about if I try just this? Okay, look at that. Now I'm pretty sure this is a LFI vulnerability, kind of, where I can list contents. And since this is directory read, I'm confident I won't be able to read them. For example, if I do index.php, that's false. And that's understandable actually, because this is just a directory read. But what about file read? Was this file write? The read, don't I have a file read? Let me see that again. So for this, let me use the network, just not for not being intercepted. So what about change delete? That is file read. Okay, yeah, I mean, reload the page, the read, add list, the read, delete, the read, list, file read. Okay, got it. So proxy intercept. Maybe I just jumped it, right? Because I didn't understand the words or whatever. So intercept is on in here, file read. That's fine. So now I have in here file write, file. Let me just file read. Cool. So instead of listing list 2, okay, let's go here. So I have here my directory. Can I go back? Okay, HTML localhost. Let me go back once again. And I see the same. That's weird. False. Oh, because I did 3 dots. So again, it's kind of bugged, maybe. Not really sure, but we see where it's going, right? So here, and why don't we try to read this file? So instead of this, let me index.php, and look at that. It gives us a JSON object with file key and with the value of the actual source code, right? So let us try to read this dir read file. So dir read.php. Wait, just like that, and look at that. We're seeing the source code. So I'm gonna be turning it over to curl. I'm gonna be using HTTP just like this, and the read.php, and the gonna be no path dir read.php, and it's not dir read but file read, where I would be supposed to read this, but maybe file read.php dir read. I mean, what's going on? Okay, yes, I might need probably, I don't know, here the content type application JSON, probably. Nope. Okay, HTTP filery.php, and the path is, what about this? Okay. I'll read.php, and I want to read their read.php. I don't know what's going on. Should work. Let me just keep trying here. File false. I mean, it's doing the request. File read. Okay, maybe it's not application JSON, but this one. File read.php. No. Okay, guys, so we just need to specify the file parameter here, and that will do work. Now we see the same responses in verb suite. So we can see this now. This is a JSON object, so I can parse it to JQ, and actually I'm not gonna need this header, I think. Yep. And with that, I'm gonna be using tag R, and I'm gonna be using the file object. That way it will just focus on this object, even if we did have some other like key value pairs, and that will skip all these escape sequences, this for new line, and I saw a /t for tabulation steps. So let's look at that. Okay, so it says if the server request method is post Then it says the header to application JSON, and if the file, which we do have in here, the file parameter is being sent over post, then it says again the header, just for precaution, I think, and it does something like this. So it says the file will be replaced. Okay, so it will replace an array of several things by nothing. That is, it will eliminate some sequences on the file content, the file parameter content, right? So what it's basically saying is that any sequence that is like this will turn to literally nothing, right? And if there's something like this as well, like in case of Linux, Windows, sorry, same thing, it will convert it into nothing. So if I try to do something like this, etc pass WD, it will remove this, right? And give us this, and that is nothing. Now, this function happens to be not recursive. That is, it only passes one time for this string and removes them as it finds it. But there's a common way to bypass this by using double pair of dots and double slash, that is 4 dots, right? And 2 slash like this. So what this basically does is, okay, so the program or the function string replace looks at this. So dot dot, that is not harmful, dot dot slash, okay, let's remove that. It goes on, dot 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 dot, okay, that is harmful, let's remove it. Dot dot dot, that is slash, that is harmful, let's remove it, and so on and so forth, all the way until the end. And it will let us effectively this file inclusion payload with which will work, right? So let us try that. Curl just like this, and instead of this, I'm going to be using 4 dots, 1 2 3 4 slash slash 1 2 3 4 slash slash etc pass WD. Let's see if that works. And look at that, it does. So that's cool. Now we have local file inclusion. We can see any file we want, and I see here rep home. I want to see what users have a home folder. And we see nobody. Nobody, typically it's not like a actual home user. It's just a system user that it's laying there. But it looks like this time it has a home folder. So what about if we delete the path like this? 1 2 3 4 slash 1 2 3 4 slash, sorry, 3 4 slash slash, maybe like that. Okay, I'm passing the variable we had before. What about this? Okay, this is the root. So we have a Docker environment. So now we know we are in the Docker. Let me go to home now. Okay, now I have nobody. Okay, nobody. And okay, I have a hash history, SSH, beaminfo, user.txt. Let us try to nobody. Sorry. So home nobody user.txt. Remove this script and false. Well, that might be because we don't have permissions, probably. Let me see what's in the .ssh folder. And I have a authorized keys, a known host, and then that monitor. There's no ID RSA, so I will definitely look into this file. So nobody that SSH dot monitor, and it's hidden, right? So might be dangerous, and it looks like it is. We have an IDRSA, so let me IDRSA. I have now this file. I'm not gonna be giving it 600 permissions to IDRSA. That way it will allow us to log in there. So SSH on nobody, my IP, and identity file tag IDRSA. Yes. And okay, so it says welcome to Alpine, which is a basically a Docker, a Linux distribution for Docker. Let me check like this, ls ID. Okay, cat user. There we have our flag. Nobody. This is kind of weird because it is giving us a UID 65,534. That is, it's kind of bug. That's why we have nobody. But it says Waldo in here. So we need to keep investigating, right? So hash history is being redirected to def null, so there's nothing to look at that. And I'm gonna be using SS. No, netstat. Yeah. So nets.h. Now we have some commands, right? So I'm gonna be checking TCP ports, listening sockets, raw sockets, and unresolved names. Let me. Okay, so we have on port 80, port 22, 88, 88. I don't know what that is actually. 88, 88. I mean, do we have NC netcat? Which NC? Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know what that is. So maybe curl 127.008,000. 8888. Errors? Yeah, it's hanging. It's not. I don't know. So why don't. Let me grab from here IR. Well, I don't need the 8 flag, so let me look for this port in some kind of file. What? No such file or directory. I mean, I'm looking for contents. Okay, so eventually you would come to the idea of checking some configurations files for some services, right? Now, if we happen to look at the SSH, is it like this? Yeah. The SSH config file, you will see actually 2 config files in here, which are going to be like this. SSH config. And you will notice that this is all commented out because it's like a template. But the actual file is an SSHD as in daemon, right? This is the service config file itself. And I will see that some of them are commented out, some of them are not. I'm gonna be filtering that out. So, and I'm gonna be using egrep, and I'm gonna be specifying this little heading here because that will tell grep, hey, I just want to match all the lines that starts with something, and I'm gonna be using this. And before that, I want a dot, which means literally any character. Actually grep v to remove, and that will give us some spaces, and I will grab dot again like this, and I'm gonna be using cat. So I now have this. So I have port 8888, permit root login, no, authorized keys file, the authorized keys. So let me, just for a matter of curiosity, home, monitor, not monitor, but nobody. That is SSH authorized keys. echo, and I have this key here. So it looks like there's a monitor user somewhere, and it says password authentication no, challenge response authentication no, SF2CP service, and it says allow users nobody. So I am like me, nobody. I am the only user allowed to connect to port 8080 8080. Now we don't have any other like machine to try that. So since 8888 it's open on the local host as well, we will try to use SSH on monitor, right? As we are that user we want to log in as monitor at 127.0.0.0. Identity file I'm gonna be using home, nobody, .ssh, and that monitor, right? And well, it looks like it works. Yes. And well, we have a message written on us, right? So okay, I'd see it says rbash alias command not found. I'm going to see the environment. I cannot echo path. I can execute commands for bin from appdev and from appdev v0.1. So ls cd bin. I probably cannot cd bin. Something you usually try with restricted bash is just to press double tap, and that will show you all the commands that are available for you to use. In this case, we cannot, like it's giving some kind of errors. So let me check bin. I will see that I have ls pointing to bin ls, most pointing to most, red pointing to ed. These R is actually from restricted ed and nano, restricted nano. So from here we need to just conduct some research about these four, well, actually these three binaries, just to see if we have a way of spawning a shell out of them. So most does not work. ed, okay. So red, I'm not sure if this is taking it as a command named red or it's restricted ed, not really sure. Yeah, but I don't have a shell like placing here. While I do have it here in ed, so shell, and I can apparently ed and then spawn a bin bash. Let me try that. So ed, actually red, well, it's actually in interactive mode, so let me, what was it? No, this is not ed. Okay, so exclamation mark bin bash, and it spawns a shell. Now it doesn't say rbash whenever a command does not exist. amv does not exist. Pod pw find. Okay, but echo path. I'm gonna be exporting my, oh, what happened there? Okay, so echo path. I'm gonna be copying this with xclip cell clip, and from here I'm gonna be exporting path, that variable, as all this. Oh damn. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Do I have fine now? Yes, I do. So let me, for example, start looking for SUID binaries. I see no vulnerable or binary with the sticky bit set. Let me etc pass wd, and now I have Steve, monitor, appdev, more users. So let's LA back, and from here every directory. So monitor, that's where we are, right? And we have user.txt, all the stuff. And in monitor, you would all obviously check the appdev, right? So let's check the appdev, and I can see log log monitor.c, some source code. Let me less. This is an application to print out common login files. Usage, and apparently I can use well, different options in here. And I have, well, a case and a switch function to list several logs, right? Now, moving on with our enumeration, I'm gonna be checking capabilities on the system. So get cap, perm, recursively, and redirect the errors to def null. I don't want to see any error. And I have a binary called tac and a binary on v1 called log monitor with both with cap dac red search plus ei. So I don't know what tac is. The other one is a custom binary. So let me check first what is tac. And I have, okay, tac file read and SUID. I don't have that sticky bit set in any binary actually. Sudo, I don't have that. Actually, let me try sudo l. It does not exist. And it reads data from files. It may be used to do privileged reads or disclose files outside a restricted file system. So I'm gonna be using this, and I'm gonna be trying it with etc shadow, which is a kind of like a etc pass.wd file, but that holds some system hashes that we can crack. And I'm gonna be using tks random ML file. And well, look at that. So thanks to that capability, I mean, tac itself will let you read files, right? But never unauthorized files. But since it has that capability on the system, it will let us read privileged and unauthorized files, such as shadow. So cool. We should definitely try to crack those hashes just to include in our pen test report that there well, whether the users are using a strong password policy or not, all stuff. In this case, I'm also interested in checking the root flag. So root.txt and there is our flag. And in order to gain access, I like to try checking, for example, the SSH file and IDRSA if it exists, and it does. So let me copy it and try. Okay, nano root IDRSA, copy that, chamat 600 root IDRSA SSH root. Sorry, root IDRSA, right? And I need to define my variable in here. So once again, this is the IP. Now let's remove the HTTP. And it says permission denied. Let me check the authorized files file. Authorized keys. And there's no such file or directory. So that is interesting. Maybe known host, just known hosts. There's no such file. So we have a IDRSA, but we're not able to log in as a user. And apparently to some users from Hack the Box, they say, and they say the creator of the machine says that that is the intended way to be. So the machine ends here. So I'm gonna be wrapping it up in here. But anyway, we got a root flag, right? So that's fine. And as always, I hope you guys liked it as I did. This was pretty interesting. This was a machine I did some time ago, several months ago, and I think this was the place where I learned to kind of that LFI technique in order to circumvent that LFI protection measure, right? So definitely a good one, right? So that's it for today, and I hope you guys liked it once again, and I'll see you later.